is tight. Look at the ramps on the left and right. Okay.
Welcome to a brand new episode of InstacarHK. Today we got a special one for you all because for the first time ever, Rolls Royce Hong Kong has provided us with a brand new car to review, and that is this Rolls Royce Ghost. Now, the name Ghost first appeared under the Rolls Royce brand in as early as 1906 when a one-off vintage model was named the Silver Ghost to show how luxurious and quiet it is. It is so quiet, it is like a ghost. And in 2009, Rolls Royce revived the Ghost name with the first generation of the modern Ghost model, which was meant to be a more managed and realistic version of their flagship model, the Phantom. So it's meant to be more compact, more usable, but still super luxurious. And it's meant to target the more conventional luxury class cars, such as the BMW 7 Series, the Mercedes-Benz S Class, and the Bentley Flying Spur. Now, the first generation Ghost actually shares the same platform as BMW 7 Series, because by then BMW already owns Rolls-Royce. Because of its compact size, the Ghost actually really fits Hong Kong due to our small and narrow roads. So actually right off the bat, the Ghost model has been extremely popular in Hong Kong and remains so today. Now, the car we have here today is actually the second generation Ghost, which was released in 2020. And unlike the first generation, it no longer shares the platform with the BMW 7 Series. Instead, this Ghost shares the same platform as the current Phantom and also the SUV Cullinan model. Now, as you can see, obviously being a new car, it's more modern and up to date, but I do think the updates are quite subtle. It's more beautiful than the first version, but it's still, you can really relate back to the first generation of the Ghost. Now, I actually got the option list here today of this particular car, which is the 2023 brand new Rolls Royce Ghost. Now, for the standard options, they have your usual Spirit of Ecstasy, which retracts on itself, a bunch of interior technology like USB, wireless technology, etc., self-closing doors. Now, for the additional options that this car has, first of all comes the color. This beautiful color is an option called the Withering Blue. And it also has these hand-painted stripes on the side, 21-inch twin-spoke fully polished wheels, and this is something I'm really excited about, which is the illuminated grille. So the new Rolls Royces have an illuminated grille where you can light it up, which I'm quite excited to see later. Later we'll try to go to a darker spot to try the lights out, but I'm expecting it to look pretty cool. Now, all this added together, this car's price comes to a massive Hong Kong $8 million, which is quite a bit. Now, under the bonnet, there is Rolls-Royce's 6.7 V12 twin-turbo engine producing 565 horsepower, which is quite impressive. But let's face it, Rolls-Royce is not always about speed or sheer performance, but more on how it drives and how comfortable it is, which admittedly is a bit different from what we normally do. As you all know, we usually review classic cars or supercars. So it is a first for us to review a modern luxury car. And the reason for that is the Rolls-Royce brand has actually always been very popular in Hong Kong. Since the day this fisherman's village had any money, our tycoons started buying Rolls Royces back in the 50s, 60s, whatever. Even today, there are a number of huge and serious Rolls Royce collections around Hong Kong with a bunch of tycoons. However, when it comes to Hong Kong, the image of Rolls Royce is owned by old rich folks and is always driver driven. So the driver will drive in the front with the rich man sitting at the back doing business, reading newspaper. But today is quite different. The brand got younger. There are different models like this one, which is more compact. In places like the US, Europe, many rich folks actually use it themselves as their daily car and not necessarily driven by drivers. So what we want to find out from today is whether in Hong Kong, the second generation Ghost can be used by a driver like myself, a young guy with a young family, to use it as my daily driver. So what we've planned today is I'm going to do my usual things that I do on the weekend, which is to take my 18-month-old baby to his playgroup class, and then in the afternoon we usually go out with him to do something. And today we're going to go to the lychee farm in Yuen Long, Tai Tong with my kid to have some fun. But we'll do all of that in this Rolls Royce Ghost with me behind the wheel. It should be quite interesting because the itinerary includes some mountain roads, some city driving, and some highway. So it'll be interesting to see how this car fares. Now, without further ado, let's go pick up InstacarHK Junior. Now, I've just put on the baby seat. It's much easier than before, mainly because I'm more experienced with baby seats now, but also this car has the ISOFIX and normal seat belt, so the new baby seat I got is pretty easy to install. I did that within 5 minutes, which is good. So now it's time to invite my son, InstacarHK Junior, to come down, and that will be the first test for this car, because since we last filmed Junior with the Roma, he has grown a lot. Now he runs around and he developed a keen interest on cars and actually started developing his own taste. He does pick his cars. Some cars he's just genuinely not interested in, while cars that he likes, he immediately runs around touching it and whatnot. So let's see if the Ghost passed his test. So now it's time to go for the drive, to start our journey. First off, coolest thing ever, self-closed doors, one of the options for this car. And all you have to do is use this window-looking button, pull it, and then it comes in very softly and quietly. To start the car, like modern conventional cars, foot on the brake pedal and then you press the start engine button. The car starts very quietly. And then, like with classic Rolls Royces, the gear shift is on the side. So what you do here is pull it to yourself and then pull down, and there's D. And then handbrake is you just put on your gas pedal and you go. So let's, as you would expect, very quiet and very smooth immediately. You know this is a very luxurious car, everything with a very light touch. Having said that, I'm quite surprised with the throttle response. The throttle is obviously very light and smooth, but it's quite reactive. Like the reaction is quite quick and quite accurate, which I wasn't expecting, because usually with these luxurious cars, the throttle may have some delay. Accuracy is not really what you think of, but this has been quite good. Now, size-wise, obviously it's big. It does take some getting used to immediately. But in terms of the optical view, it does give you some assurance and certainty, because the Spirit of Ecstasy kind of shows where your front end is. And also you can see the sideline of the front bonnet, giving you some sort of an indication of where your side is, where the limit of your side is. So it's okay. It's big, but it takes less time to get used to than I expected. One thing, however, I did not expect are the huge rear view mirrors. and they tend to block your view a little when you look left and right because they're so big. Now, okay, now we're really going through some traffic, and yes, even with what I said just now, the car does feel big, and you do have to be a bit careful because it is big. It's close to 2 meters wide. Brakes are, just normal driving like this, as you would expect. Efficient. Now this is a very few tight turns, so you kind of have to anticipate in case a double-decker suddenly comes across you. Well, I don't need a double-decker, just a countryman kind of got me putting my brakes on. Very good visibility. Aside from the huge rear view mirrors I talked about, when you look left and right, it does tend to block some of your view. Other than that, front visibility is good. No cars in front. I'm going to try to pick up a little. Now, obviously, it's not a performance car, so I'm not exactly trying any time records here. No, it is scary though when there are cars across, especially in this tight corner we're in again. Yeah, so until you see a clear straight, it's not a car yet that you'll really step on it because of its sheer size. And we got a bit of straight road here. Truck. Now, as mentioned, this car does have a twin-turbo V12 with 565 horsepower. So even though it's not a performance car per se, you never really feel a lack of power. Scary in mountain roads in the beginning, but something manageable. I think it's manageable. Now that Junior is in class, what I normally do is I go to my usual work parking spot in Central and wait for him. Now it's not a small car park, but it does have its narrow and tight turns, which I think will be interesting to bring this Ghost in. Now this is really our first try, like we have not done any scouting or anything, so wish me luck. I do not want to scratch this $8 million car. So here we go. Let's go in. I feel the pressure. It's big. It's tight. Look at the ramps on the left and right. Okay. It's really tight. Okay. No wheel cups yet. Okay. Now, luckily, they have these big mirrors so I can keep an eye on the wheels to see if it's gonna scratch. Now, admittedly, I have never seen a Ghost or Phantom in this car park. I hope it's not because they don't fit. Let's go. Now, this next part, the second turn coming up, is a really tight one. This one is fine. The next one is tight, so wish me luck. Okay, here we go. First one done. I'm not gonna make it in one turn. All right. Back up. sensor 信得過喎。All right, okay, success. After like 3 turns, we made it. So it fits going down, but let's see if it fits going up. So now I'm just taking a break. When Junior is in school, I usually go find a place for coffee. And just looking back, the mountain road part was actually better than expected. As I mentioned, the car wasn't that intimidating. It was quite normal to drive. The size is big, but it was easy to adapt. But when we got to the car park just now, oh my god, that part was tough. That part was tough. And we were already in a standard wheelbase car. I can't imagine if I'm in a long wheelbase Ghost, I'll probably be stuck. Anyway, so far so good. And now we'll wait for Junior to get off school, and then we'll head over to new territories. So I'll catch you then. Right now, so Junior is done with his class. We've picked him up, and now we're going to head over to Yuen Long Tai Tong, the strawberry farm, in the Rolls Royce Ghost. Now there will be a lot of highways, which I am quite looking forward to, because I do think this car will really shine on highways. So let's go and see how it goes. So we've just gone past Western Tunnel. We're on full highways now. And as expected, this car has been doing extremely well. The ride is very smooth. It absorbs any bumps very comfortably. Very quiet too, which is not out of expectations. I remember watching some other local YouTube films on this car, and one of the comments they had was the sound between being inside the tunnel and getting outside the tunnel the difference was minimal, because you know how usually it's louder in the tunnel. So this car has done so well with the sound deadening that all these sort of external environment impact are kept at the minimal. So again, all that expected, but one thing I want to try is the performance now that we have some straight roads, to see, we know it's a powerful car, we know it's a V12 twin turbo, but let's see how it's like in the real world. It goes, the car goes, and sounds good as well. Even though it's quiet, it still sounds pretty. Now, it's a fast car. I mean, don't let the looks and the badge fool you. It is a fast car. Like I said, there's the V12 twin turbo engine, 565 horsepower. And if you look at the figures, the car actually does 0 to 60 in 4.8 seconds, which is pretty crazy for a car that is 2.5 tons. The good thing is the power also comes very effortlessly. You see just now was cutting around a few lanes, stepping on it, and it comes very effortlessly. Now we've just got to the strawberry farm in Tai Tong, and as you will see, it's dirt bumpy road, and the car has been taking the rides well. And I'm going to press this button to make the suspension go higher, make the ride height go higher, because it's quite bumpy here, but some really bumpy roads, but it absorbs the bumps so well. I know I kept saying that, but this is the true test of how it absorbs bumps, because this is a very bumpy road. So we're gonna be here, and I'm just going to find a parking space. Quite a quiet day, which is great. So I'm just gonna park here next to a camera car, and we're gonna have a good day with Junior. that was a fun day. Junior had lots of fun. The weather has been very kind. It was a good long day in a very comfortable car. And now, when we started, we set out to find out whether a young family, by a young guy like me, a young-ish guy like me, can use it as a family day car. And the answer is yes, absolutely. Mainly because I think for a place like Hong Kong, size is very important. Now, the Ghost is more compact than the Phantom, but it's by no means a small car at all. But one thing it is very impressive is that it does try its best to the extent possible to make it easier and more adaptable and less intimidating. So while it's a big car, it was not that difficult to get used to. All in all, it's good. Now, the only thing on whether this car can be a driver's car is frankly the image. You know, whether you want to buy if you're a guy like me, you're not an old guy, you want to buy a Ghost as a user car, I'm not sure. Like if I had the money, would I do that? I'm not sure, because you have other cars to pick from. You have the 2 doors, you have the Cullinan. But if I was a rich dude, or if I had a rich father and with a car like this and a driver, I'll be more than happy to take it out myself on my own with my family from time to time. I don't think this is an exclusively driver's car. I think that's very important. It has more functions, it has more sides than just being a driver's car with a boss sitting at the back. So in that sense, I think this car definitely passed the test of being whether it could be a young family car. That it could definitely do. Junior really enjoyed his ride. I've never seen him so quiet in the baby seat before. He was just really chilling and enjoying, which is good for him. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed the brand new Rolls Royce Ghost. If you did, please give us a like, please subscribe, please remember to click the bell button next to the subscribe button so you know when our video is coming out next. Thank you and have a good day.